really Within this ancient kingdom lies power,
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Super Show, our lovely little podcast. We talk about all the things that you love, all the things we like to chat about at the game store, like video games and tabletop games and all the fun things. And it's GamesCom right now. I, once again, am Alex. I'm here with John. Again, John, how you doing this morning?
Doing good. How y'all doing out there? Hope you're having a fantastic day.
There's a lot we were just going over in the last 5 minutes. Oh, a whole bunch of news just dropped. That's wonderful. We're getting into the good. We're getting into the stuff. No, we're not talking Magic today.
No Magic today.
There is no Magic. Once I get through the event stuff. So don't forget, for Magic, we have draft tonight. We also have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Case tournament tonight. So lots of fun stuff there. We're going old school, though, with the draft tonight. We're going to go Kamigawa and Streets of New Capenna. And it's sad when we talk about old school, and those were sets that released in 2022.
Whew, yes.
Because that's 8 sets ago.
Yes, they did.
So that's what we're doing. Tonight, we dropped some new content over there. So again, if you miss any portion of the stream, you can catch it on our YouTube channel where the lives go up every single day. I put them up right after the show. And then if you want to just watch excerpts of your favorite topics, those are also on the YouTube channel. Expect more of that content today. I just dropped one. We're going to do a bunch of things. Yes, and congrats to Martin. He has now worked at Gamers Heaven for 1 year.
Hey!
So I'm going to go buy him a present this week. He's made it a whole year here. We've made it more than a year. It's great. I'm
also good, yes.
Yes, I've been talking to John. Actually, this next kind of 3 months worth of stuff just kind of has me pretty excited about the direction that the business is going and some other stuff. I did see that Martin Sheen speech at the strike event. That was cool. Actually, they had half the West Wing cast was out there at the SAG strike yesterday. So yeah, it's good times. As always, if you have any chat topics you want to do, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we'll hit those at the end of the show. If there's anything in particular you've seen in the news or anything like that. Before you drop the chats in there, I have not watched Ahsoka yet. I'm going to go try and watch it tonight. And you guys know my spoiler rules, right? You get 1 week on a streaming show before I spoil the snot out of it, okay? If it's on streaming, you've got 7 days from release before I'm I don't care anymore.
Are spoilers a bannable offense here? Or just a timeout?
It's a timeout.
Okay.
Okay? But the team knows from our long-standing policy is if it's a streaming service, spoilers only apply for 7 days, right? If you don't watch it the first 7 days, I'm presuming you're not that excited about it. So I'm going to spoil it. Movies, as always, are during the theatrical run. We won't spoil it.
Oh, that's nice. That's very nice.
So, yes, if you got anything, I don't look disheveled. You look stressed. Yeah. Well, John's now on the team. Things are stabilizing.
You're still a little orange, but we'll fix that.
Yeah, I gotta adjust the white balance on this stupid camera. Anyway. It'll be fine. I'm glad people are liking it. I'm hearing good things. The initial reviews are in, and so far, they did the 2-episode premiere. And Disney Plus, hey, you learned to not do your premieres at midnight.
Yeah, think about what your fan base is. Come on now, who's going to be in bed at that time? Most everybody.
They released it. They released it at 6 p.m. Pacific last night, so 9 p.m. Eastern, with a 2-episode premiere. So it looks really, really solid.
I like that. I like that most shows are doing more than, if they're not going to do the full run, I like the couple episodes. So when Arcane came out, they dropped 3 at a time.
Yep.
And they did it really well because it was bite-sized enough that you didn't have to binge watch the whole thing. Then you could keep up with your friends, but also it gave you enough to hold on to want the next 3 or whatever episodes.
I don't, and we've talked about this before on the show, I don't love the Netflix all of it at once model.
I really don't like that.
I like give me a couple episodes right at the beginning and then do the weekly releases, because that gives you time to build up hype and do water cooler talk and do stuff. Yeah, we all know that that's not real. Okay, they're not going to kill Thrawn in the first episode. Kraz and JoJo fan.
As a person that watched basically Game of Thrones, mixed opinions on that, whatever, for the ending. But as somebody that watched it every Sunday with a group of friends,
yeah, that was our thing too.
I miss that sort of experience where you just don't get that, where it's are you going to come over and binge watch for 10 hours with me? That's not going to happen.
No, and pre-COVID, that was what we did too. We would have a big dinner at our house every Sunday night.
Yep.
Right, and then all my friends, my daughter, and then once we got my daughter to bed, because obviously we weren't going to let I think at the time, 5-year-old watch Game of Thrones, but we would just all sit down and watch Game of Thrones together, and those shared experiences for entertainment is one of my favorite things.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So right now, it's GamesCom time. They have dumped a bunch of stuff. We're going to kind of run through.
Yeah.
We're going to run through a lot of what's happened at Gamescom in the last 24 hours. They did a bunch of preview stuff ahead of night one. Then night one was last night, John?
Yeah, night one was last night.
So,
opening night live, and it was good. It was good. It had some good announcements. I'd give it a 3 out of 5, solid as far as like stuff.
Do you think this is going to take the place of E3? Because obviously E3 got canceled this year.
I think we'll see another. I think we'll see another E3 at some point. I don't think the big trade show like that is going away. I think that we're going to see a pivot though, because I think Keighley owns the space at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
As far as E3 goes, I think there is something to be said about needing those trade shows in the industry.
See, I liked E3. We talked about this a lot before, and like I was really sad when they canceled E3. So, Young Heisenberg swag. There you go. So let's talk about that. Let's run through it. Tekken got a release date.
Yes.
We talked about this in the pre-show. It's not till next year, which I think surprised me. I think it surprised a lot of people. But you had a theory as to why they decided to kind of bump it back.
My theory there is like, one, we've got this, we're eating good as gamers right now. There are a ton of releases. There's a ton of releases slated for the end of the year. A lot of games moved out of the this portion of the year because of Starfield. I mean, we even saw Baldur's Gate push itself up, and some games push themselves back. So I think coupled with the fact that you've got 2 really strong fighting games this year, Street Fighter came out and did really well. Mortal Kombat is poised to do extremely well, I think, next month.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to justify something like Tekken jumping in the ring before the end of the year when you could easily get out of the way of all the big releases, get out of the way of the 2 big fighting games that are going to suck up all the oxygen in the room for the next couple of months. And then when the new year hits, you drop Tekken, and we've got Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter all ready to go for Evo
Well, you
next
also
year.
said Guilty Gear is having a big update right now, so that's going to suck some oxygen because it's going to pull back all those players.
It's going to pull a lot of Guilty Gear players back in because they are actually redoing a lot of the systems. They're changing a lot of things under the hood. So there's going to be a lot of reasons. They're even giving characters new moves. So there's going to be a lot of reasons for veterans to come back and people that have been playing a long time to like dig deep again.
Okay. We got a Mortal Kombat trailer.
Yes.
That looks solid.
Sorry, I saw that we need another Capcom versus Marvel. I absolutely agree. I think what we're going to get in place of that for right now, another reason why I think Tekken is waiting, is Project L. Because if Project L has like a big demo or something open or even releases next year, then like we're going to have the big 4 covered and the big 5 covered essentially, especially with Guilty Gear in there.
Chad's asking what Project L is.
So Project L is Riot's new, assumably free-to-play fighting game that is a tag battler. So it is very much in the vein of like an Air Dashers, like an anime fighter, lots of like high-flying stuff, but it has the Marvel tag battle essence. They're also doing something kind of unique with this where you can play it as a single player and do the tag battling as you would in something like Marvel vs. Capcom, or you can actually play 2v2 with a partner and tag your partner in, and they play the other character entirely. So we may be seeing an entire new format of gameplay.
That would be really fun.
Partners
for
and teams.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of cool.
They need to bring back Soul Calibur. I would love to see a new Soul Calibur. I don't know if that's in the offing, but
maybe. I mean, Soul Calibur is still pretty hot. The last one did well. They got Geralt in there, and like people loved it. Matter of fact, I think it was Geralt that won the last big tournament for Soul Calibur. So like it's still doing things. 3D Fighter Realm is a weird one because like there's only a handful that really matter, and there's only one that is dominant, and that's Tekken.
Yeah. Okay, another stuff. You talked about Marvel Snap is getting their PC stuff lined out.
Yes. So Marvel Snap actually just dropped their PC client as of yesterday on Steam.
It's out now.
It is fantastic. Yes, they did the announcement and dropped it at the same time, and it's good. I mean, like if you play on PC. It gives you the widescreen format, which is fantastic. We finally got that because like we've basically been playing the mobile version on PC for the last like 6 months. No complaints there, still fine. But this is going to come with a lot of quality of life changes for people, I'm sure, to just want to be able to use a bigger screen. Not to mention you get like if you're watching any streams that have Snap on it, you get free cards right now. So they're doing pretty good out there.
And then you and I grabbed this right before because we just saw this release. Assassin's Creed Jade just dropped a gameplay or a pre-beta trailer.
Yeah, so we actually didn't.
That's a mobile
We
in
didn't
China.
know this was even coming out.
No.
I think this trailer was either done today or yesterday. I didn't see it. I must have missed it at opening night live. But this is the presumably mobile Assassin's Creed that we've been hearing about for a while now. It looks really good. And especially when you're considering the fact that this big open world experience is running on a phone. I know phones are crazy nowadays, but you know, it was really surprising. It gave me that moment that I had when I first booted up Genshin Impact on my phone for the very first time, and I was like, this is just the full game. Like, this is the same thing I'd go play on PC. It functions the same, it plays the same, it runs really well. The fact that it is a full-fledged Assassin's Creed title that looks like it already runs pretty good on the phone, I think that's going to get a lot of people at least to check it out.
Especially if it's an open world. Like the last AC mobile game I can remember they did, it was kind of like a side-scrolling platformer, and now it looks like we're getting a 3D open world. The only thing that only concerns me about those is AC is known for its kind of wonky controls sometimes when you're doing the parkour.
Yeah.
Because there is a level of the computer guessing what it thinks you're trying to do to keep the parkour smooth, and that could get a little wonky with mobile.
Like touch controls?
Yeah, you're like,
yeah.
no, I didn't want to jump that way, no!
I am very curious what's going to happen with that. I see a lot of Sidewinders and Mogas and stuff like that being sold, and Backbones here in the near future.
Yeah. Bringing Assassin's Creed to VR would be pretty epic. That would be neat, but I think you might get sick.
You might get sick. That would be
also,
really
that
tough.
like falling into a thing of hay, right? in VR, oh boy.
Yeah.
That might be a bit much for a lot of people. Like, that's going to mess with your balance something fierce. AC Mirage, they've been talking a lot about that. That's got a release date. They released another trailer for that. Again, it looks like a return to form for Assassin's Creed. They're going back to the old formula.
Yeah, old formula, old place, even allowing you to throw on the old camera filter.
The sepia tones.
So like they're really trying to hit upon that. I think the longtime fan base with that, get some new people in with Jade, and then really line us up for, I think it's Red that they keep
That's
teasing.
the code name right now.
That's the big one that might be set in Japan that we're hearing about.
And that one's one that people have been asking for a long time.
Oh, yeah, as long as I can remember at this point.
Give me Ninja Assassin's Creed, please.
Assassin's Creed Gundam sounds great. Yo, yeah, that could be kind of fun. That could be fun.
I mean, I would play it,
Oh yeah, but jumping back to the Mortal Kombat 1 trailer, it was good. We got a lot of people that might be interested in, the villain side of the characters for Mortal Kombat. That's covered in this trailer. A lot of the Outworld characters show up. So like, if you're interested in seeing what a lot of that roster looks like, they showed some more characters and they look fantastic.
Yeah. Again, it's just opening night for Gamescom, so I think we're going to see some cool stuff over the next couple of days. Because you said that the Xbox one is later today, isn't it?
Xbox showcases it sometime today, and I would imagine we're going to see things that everybody hoped for. Starfield, probably some more, maybe some more Forza stuff, because I know some of that got pushed out. Who knows what else we're going to see? I feel like it's going to be a lot of Starfield, because we are like right around the corner from that.
Yeah, that's next Friday. And holy smokes, that's going to be...
It's going to be huge.
I'm really, really curious what it's going to do, especially, we just talked a few minutes ago about Baldur's Gate moving, a lot of people moving off of this. I wonder what a lot of these people know about how good this game's going to be.
I think,
or how much they think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things in play there, but like that's one of the big ones, but also just, I think a lot of it has to do with like, Bethesda being able to kind of deliver in a way that people are going to go try it or buy it. They got it on Game Pass. They've got it on...
I know that's why I'm happy I have Game Pass.
Yeah, and they're going to have it on Xbox, and the PC install base is probably going to be huge, because that's, as far as I know, where a lot of people play Bethesda games, then eventually on console. We're not going to see it on PlayStation, would be my guess. If not now, if not in a couple years, probably never. This could be one of the first big, truly exclusive things that we've seen in a while. But I honestly think that with it being on Game Pass and it being a Bethesda title, and it's a new IP, it's their first new IP in over a decade. So
at least.
So like I think it's smart, and I think that that's a lot of why right there. It's just like Bethesda's a big company. You got to get out of the way when they're going to be like, hey, here's our new IP.
But especially this is their first full release under Microsoft.
Yes, and so of course Microsoft has been going ham with the promotion stuff because they really want to see this succeed. It is a big part of their investment in ZeniMax and Bethesda as a whole.
Do you think that this is a system seller for them?
I think that's a weird one for me. I think that it is a Game Pass seller. I think that if there was ever a time that somebody were to pick up Game
Somebody
Pass,
who's already got Xbox.
somebody's already got Xbox, even on PC, because I mean like Game Pass on PC.
Yep.
I mean you can stream Game Pass to your phone now with Game Pass Ultimate. So like, I think this is a Game Pass seller, honestly, because like when you look at what is on Game Pass, your offerings are a lot of classic things, a lot of things that you'd expect, things that you might not have played yet. But as far as like, hey, this is the big breakout thing that I'm going to go get Game Pass for the next month or buy a year pass or whatever for, I think this is a game that would sell that specifically.
See, and I feel like I already have Game Pass. Aw. So, I mean, the upside is I don't have to spend $80 on Starfield.
Yeah, and like the beautiful thing is if you do really enjoy it, you've spent, if you got the introductory price, you spent $1 on Game Pass for a month.
Yep.
At most, you're spending $10 to $15 if you get Ultimate. So what's another $10 on top of $70 if you really like it? You go pick it up on Steam when you know you like it, or on the Xbox store.
And because there's so many other things on Game Pass that you can play. Like I know they loaded GTA 5 on there not too long ago. I finally started jumping into that. I was like, oh look, it's free.
Hi-Fi Rush. If you plan on getting Game Pass and you need something to kill some time, or need something to do besides Starfield, Hi-Fi Rush is great. I know Slay the Spire is on there. Like there's a ton of good titles on there.
So yeah. Obviously, tomorrow's show we will talk more about what we see from the Xbox presentation today and what kind of comes out. So stay tuned. We're going to keep watching Gamescom pretty carefully because I think this may be a little mini PAX preview as well, especially since we know now Ubisoft's coming to PAX. I just saw them added to the show floor, so we could really see a good PAX here, but still no Xbox. What's up, Microsoft? It's your backyard. Come on. All right. Moving right along, the other piece of news that wasn't directly Gamescom related, but I think was released because Gamescom is happening, is there's been a lot of rumors and stuff about the new PlayStation Portable device, and we finally have a name and a price. It's the PlayStation Portal, which isn't a terrible name.
Still like Project Q better, but that's just me.
And it's $199.
Yep.
So it is what the leaked photos look like. It looks like somebody sawed a DualSense 2 controller in half and basically glued it to a tablet.
Yep.
That's what it looks like. It doesn't look terrible, and if you're used to the DualSense controller, I think it'll feel very comfortable.
How much is a DualSense right now? About $80. It's like $80, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we now know that it is a Wi-Fi connected, must be linked to your PS5 device. I'm really curious how well this is going to sell. Yeah. I was hoping for a fully portable device, a la a Steam Deck or a PSP or a Vita. That's not what this is.
No. Even something that I was kind of hoping for, something that I can even load things up, presumably digitally.
Yeah. There's basically no internal memory, according to the preview that I read today.
It is just a in-home streaming device.
It's the thing that came with the Wii U.
Exactly. So if for some reason you're not playing your PlayStation 5 on your nice TV and you got to give that up, and you don't have another TV in your house already, you can go buy this $200 controller attached to a screen, which, honestly, the screen looks pretty good. And
all the reviews say the screen, the one hands-on that I saw said the screen, the image quality is really good.
And I think that's the important part, especially when I'm like connecting to my PlayStation 5. I want that super crisp, clean, hopefully 4K feel when I'm looking at this smaller screen. Resolution is going to play a lot into that, where it's going to be smaller, so they're going to be able to play with resolution a little bit and have it run fine. But yeah, $200 for a in-home gaming device that is specifically for when you can't access or don't want to be on your TV is a hard sell for me. At $200, I think a lot of people are going to pick it up though, because of the fact that if it would have been $150, it would have flown off the shelves. 200 is a little bit of like the high end where I think that you could sell that at. Anything above 200, like if this would have come in at 250, no chance. Because it's just an accessory, and not an accessory in the way that the VR system is. It is just a screen and another controller.
Yeah.
That is it.
Chad's saying they think Sony's going to take a bath in this. It's possible.
It is. Yeah, it is.
The interesting thing is, like, I personally, like, with the Wii U, which is, again, the closest thing I've seen to this, where it had the screen controller that you could remote your stuff out. I used it a lot at that time just because, again, life circumstances stuff, right? Didn't want to be sitting on the couch, things like that. I was really hoping that Sony was going to come out with a fully portable device, right? If this was a device that I could be like, okay, I'm playing, Street Fighter 6, but I got to go jump on the train. Let me just stop, pause my game save, grab my portal, and then I can go do it elsewhere, or on a plane, or anywhere else.
So, this is something I don't have full information on yet. Are we 100% sure it is a Wi-Fi, like a home Wi-Fi only?
That appears to be the case, but let me double check really quick.
Because my immediate thought is, well, tether to your phone and get on the internet, and does it connect that way, yada yada, but like it could also just be in-home Wi-Fi.
All right, so I am on the PlayStation blog right now. Wireless earbuds, blah, 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 blah. So it's a LCD screen, 60 FPS.
Some of this stuff feels a lot like how Apple does their products, especially with the VR headset being more expensive than the actual console.
So,
go ahead.
On the PlayStation blog, PlayStation Portal will connect remotely to your PS5 over Wi-Fi. So you'll be able to swiftly jump from playing on your PS5 to your PlayStation Portal. You can play supported games that are installed on your PS5 console and use the DualSense controller. 3.5mm audio jack for wired audio.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. It has a headphone jack?
It has a headphone jack.
Okay, it's small, but important to a lot of people.
It is. So here's the target demo for this in my head, right? The target demo is 12 to 16 years old. I'm at home on a Sunday, and my dad wants to watch football on the big TV.
Yeah.
That my PlayStation's hooked to.
I can see that, for sure.
Like, again, I love the idea in theory, but again, like you said, like, $200 is probably a stretch too far for my personal situation.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, especially when you, like, what's the use case there? Kind of like you said. But at that point, you probably already have a TV in another room that the console could go on. So, like, I don't know. That is a really tough sell.
Yeah.
The reason that I think it will sell, though, is because of the way that Sony, I believe Sony and PlayStation especially, is trying to position themselves like the Apple or the iPhone market, where it's like they do shit's super expensive, but they know it's going to sell because whales, high-end consumers, people like that end up buying this product. And to Sony, much like when the scalping stuff was happening and the consoles were flying off the shelves according to them, and they were like, oh yeah, we're making record numbers, blah, blah, blah. That's all that matters. If it sells, it sells. If it gets out the door, it gets out the door. And there is a sort of weird niche aspect for a lot of these people that have a lot of money where they're going to go buy something like this. I know a friend of mine that bought the fucking headset and has literally never touched the damn thing. He just had enough money to buy it.
I think the other reason I think I'm a little frustrated with this is Sony has a history, and maybe this is partially why Sony's doing what they're doing. I'm curious. I would love to be inside of Sony's boardrooms to hear their product managers pitch this stuff. Because I think Sony has a history of really well made, but critically undervalued mobile devices.
Talking like the Vita,
the PSP.
Yeah.
I loved my PSP. I had the PSP.
That phone one for a while too.
Oh yeah.
They had a lot of weird little shit like that.
But I thought the PSP was really well put together, especially at the time before Wi-Fi and a lot of that stuff could go. With the little miniature CDs that were protected too.
Oh, the UMDs.
Yep.
Loved them.
UMDs were great. I even bought movies on the UMD for when I was traveling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
And then the Vita, again, I think was criminally underrated for what it was capable of.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, no, you could, and this is another example of like the use case is because like that is a console you could connect to your PlayStation 4 and play PlayStation 4 on your Vita while you're laying in bed. Like I remember playing Destiny very vividly.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like again the Sony market is weird, right? Like the one that I didn't expect between the two was the earbuds. Why? Like why? Like is there that much of a gap in the market like that you could slide some earbuds in there? Because that was the one between the portable monitor, between the in-house portable monitor screen thing and the earbuds. I was like, this makes sense. The earbuds don't make a ton of sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I'll be curious to see more reviews on this. Like you said before, like basically one person has gotten hands-on from Sony where they were like, here, you review it.
And they're a Sony person, so like it's hard to, you know, I know it's probably an unbiased review, but there's always that little bit
of... I know they're shooting for 7 to 9 hours of battery life and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm having a hard time for the use case. Again, I would love an actual legit Sony mobile product.
Yeah.
There's so many good games on PlayStation that like...
So the real question is going to be, you know, going forward, especially with seeing the success of things like Steam Deck and the Switch, and we don't know what the new product from Nintendo is going to look like. Do we see a world in which that these big monolithic consoles are no longer what they're pumping out, but we get similar, if not the same level of hardware in something like a Switch from Sony for their next console and Xbox? Because all of this stuff is moving more and more towards this cloud gaming, download, install, play sort of stuff. And we saw with both companies with their last consoles put out a discless version.
Yeah, and I think that, so digital distribution is obviously fully taken over. Like the number of, I would, now I'm gonna have to go look after the stream. I would guess that the number of people who buy games on disc now, not counting Switch, right? Because it's got that little...
Switch is kind of special. I like buying physical Switch games too.
But I would say outside of that, I would say the number of people who buy physical discs anymore is probably less than 15% of the market. Now, I think cloud gaming still has a long ways to go.
Yeah. Well, and Microsoft looks to be selling off the cloud gaming stuff that they've bought. So.
Now, and like, for example, I use Game Pass, right? I have one of our Series X's at my house, and I've been testing it a lot with the cloud functionality.
Okay.
And even wired, because I have wired internet in my house, not on Wi-Fi, there is definitive input lag.
Really? Okay. So what game is it the most noticeable that you could say off the top of your head?
So the two that I noticed it most was Injustice.
Okay, fair.
Right? And then GTA 5.
GTA 5. Wow.
I was trying GTA 5 Cloud, and I was in that opening sequence where you're running away from the bank. And like doing the shootout with the cops in the back of the bank, like my aiming, it was jerky.
Dang.
Right?
Okay.
Like I was having a hard time lining up my shots because there's that lag, right? And again, this isn't on Microsoft or Sony or anybody else like that, but I think I don't think that game streaming and basically being able to stream out the game is going to be functional until our internet infrastructure in this country, like in places like Japan and Korea and places where they've really heavily invested in their high-speed internet. A lot of people think that we're at the forefront of high-speed internet in the United States, and we are not.
We are not.
We are not even freaking close.
And we're in Seattle. Like,
in an area where it's good.
We're pretty lucky here. I know some people that are lucky if they get 2 megabytes.
And to answer somebody in the question, somebody in the chat brought up fiber. I have fiber, by the way. That's on fiber.
I have
because it's not about. See, you're thinking about download speed, right? It's not about download speed. The game will load quickly. Yeah. If I go to the cloud gaming function where I'm doing the game streaming on my Game Pass, it will load fast. It's not about download speed.
Set upload speed.
It's about ping, right? It's about how fast those signals are coming back and forth between, that ping and uptimes is is what kills it right now. And I have fiber, you know. And again, I run wired internet through my whole house, right? I'm not on Wi-Fi at home. So...
Yeah, and I think this is why, you know, we're seeing, I think a lot of us know or can speculate as to like, oh yeah, the Activision Blizzard King thing, you know, bought by Microsoft, all this stuff. A lot of their mobile stuff being sold off is very interesting to me, or sorry, their cloud stuff specifically. The one thing that I think a lot of people forget about or don't think about is the King side of that ABK.
Oh yeah.
I think Activision Blizzard King a lot of it was bought because
King.
King.
They want that Candy Crush money.
They want that Candy Crush money. They want that mobile division money. They want that Call of Duty mobile money as well, because just by buying ABK, they have one of the most, if not the most dominant mobile games out there under their belt, which Microsoft has never been able to break into the mobile division, whether it's hardware or anything else.
Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see. Okay. Actually, let me just real quick. So yeah, if you guys have anything, I was going to go back and look through here, see if anybody...
We didn't do the Idris Elba update yet.
Yeah, we're going to do that next. If y'all have any questions you have in the chat that you want to talk about, throw them in the chat right now. Minor stuff, I know somebody mentioned the strike earlier. It looks like the Writers Guild and the AMPTP are sitting back down to negotiate.
Okay.
There was a leak in Deadline yesterday. It seems like both sides seem to think September is going to be the magic month.
Okay.
Right? I think they're worried about the fall TV release schedules.
I mean, you can tell with the way they're putting up old TV shows on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
Like like when Ninja Turtles popped up for free on YouTube, I was like, they're already panicking.
Yeah. So it looks like September is going to be the magic month for the strikes to come to an end. That's what's coming out of both camps now. And then there was some interesting information kind of about how the DGA stuff got done so fast, seemingly, and the Writers Guild and the Actors Guild hasn't. One of those being a big issue around AI. And then the other one being the DGA had apparently sat down 13 months before their contract was up. They'd been working on it quietly with the AMPTP for over a year.
Interesting.
Whereas SAG had only sat down with them a month prior.
Okay.
Right? So...
Yeah, because I know a lot of the big kerfuffle lately was that there was AI art used in... Secret Invasion, I believe.
So and that was one where they were like, we took our artists, we had them do stuff, and then we fed our art into the thing to see what it would spit out for the opening credits.
Yeah, which is fun and experimental, and I can get behind that, but maybe lead with that messaging first.
I think that's probably one of their problems. They're not really sure how to do this. With NVIDIA adding Game Pass as an option, do you think other platforms will opt to use Microsoft's Game Pass as a more viable option versus trying up with their own offering?
I think that's Microsoft's hope. I think that's why we saw when they were doing the court rounds that they were striking deals with everybody. Like that's a big part of it. I honestly think I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, and I'm going to continue to say this till it happens, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it on a Switch or whatever the new hardware is from Nintendo. Like the offerings and being able to just, like, you're not going to get people away from the consoles. Hell, maybe even one day we're going to see it on PlayStation. But I do think that, you know, with NVIDIA adding Game Pass, hopefully NVIDIA can keep it, because we've seen them mess up streaming and game stuff before, you know, with licensing things. I do think that more people...
Martin Cameo.
Yeah.
Anniversary.
Happy anniversary,
Happy
Martin.
anniversary! I think other platforms will opt in to use Game Pass in some capacity, or at least, you know, see what it looks like for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's watched this show for a long time has heard me say about 1,000 times. I think that if Microsoft could get out of the hardware market tomorrow, they would.
Absolutely.
Right? They already own so much with the PC, which is, again, why if you looked at the court filings, you looked at everything else, there was a lot of this where they're way behind PlayStation in terms of number of consoles sold when you look at the console market.
Yep.
But I use myself as a use case. Before I had a Series X in the house, I had a PC with Game Pass, right? PC Game Pass is a good deal in my opinion,
Yeah.
right? I think that Microsoft's much more in the business of, dude, if we can get X number of PC gaming users onto Game Pass, screw it.
Well, and it's for me as somebody playing games, it's easy conversion for my friends, especially when they've got the dollar deal or it's only $10 and a new game comes out. Take Redfall for instance. It was really easy to be like, hey, I don't necessarily want to shell out $70 for this new title because I don't know how far I'm going to get with my friends in it. But telling a couple buddies, hey, $10, you throw in $10, you throw in $10, we'll all play this game together for as much time as we want out of it. That's the word of mouth alone from the value is like been my biggest proposition for getting people in. So yeah, I fully agree with that sentiment.
I think that the long-term viability of Game Pass, and again, this is just something that I don't think anybody knows outside of the industry, is are the publishers making enough money off of Game Pass, right? Because we run into the same issue that we run into with the strikes, right? The problem with the strikes right now, and one of the big issues they're dealing with both the writers and the actors, is residuals. The problem is if John has Disney Plus, if John watches 20 shows or John watches 2 shows, the amount of money he is paying Disney is the same.
Yep.
Right? It's not like the old days where the more places they licensed it out in syndication, the more places it was pulling in ad revenue, the more money was generated. This is, again, why a lot of the streamers, I think, are going to an ad-supported tier, right? And the ad-supported tiers have been very, very popular. We got this from Netflix's last earnings call.
Yep.
We got it from Disney's last earnings call as far as Hulu goes.
Because numbers, unlike people thought was going to happen with Netflix, numbers in fact did not go down. They went up when they knocked people off of the the shared thing.
And the premium tier. And they said, here's a cheap ad-supported tier, but they're making more money off the ads than they are off your subscription.
Yeah.
Right? And so the issue I think with Game Pass is going to be similar. If I play 5 games a month, or I play 1, the amount of money I'm paying Microsoft is the same. So I don't know how sustainable it is for the publishers and their finances to put stuff on Game Pass.
Yeah, so from like I've had the kind of like ability to be able to talk to a couple independent developers for Game Pass. And on the back end, it sounds like, at least on the indie side, and we don't know how this scales up, but at least on the indie side, they're very well taken care of. They have a couple options as far as how they want to essentially get paid. And the 2 big options seem to be a big fat check up front, and then that's it. And then you can go work on your other title and not have to worry about anything, which is a big deal for
a relief
devs.
For a small studio.
Yeah, or you take a cut of the basically amounts played. You take a gamble on, is my game going to get played enough that I'm going to hit a certain threshold? And those are the 2 big ways that indie devs earn on that side of things. Now, I'd love to know, this is some, we would never see how this sausage is made, but I would love to talk to a larger company and be like, Bethesda, once this game comes out,
yeah.
What did that look like for Starfield? Because from the indie side, the sales also are not affected that much, except for like a positive. People play it on Game Pass, tend to go buy it. So yeah, it's really hard to say. Does it factor more into the bottom line? Does it really hit them hard? Or is this something that is secretly beneficial to large companies?
Yeah, I would love to know. Again, like Ubisoft is one that I see a lot on Game Pass with kind of their second and third order titles, like the Far Cry's, stuff like that. So I'd be curious, when they port over a Far Cry into Game Pass, how much does Ubisoft get paid?
Because those deals are also going to look way different than anything an independent developer could think up without the team of lawyers to kind of go over everything.
Yep. Boy, I wish I had a team of lawyers. That'd be great.
It's great. It's good. I recommend it. We hired one for Sobo a while back.
All right. So last topic that we've got on our plan topics for today is there's a bunch coming out of GamesCom about the Cyberpunk 2077 updates.
Yes.
So the update run is free, right? Which is the revamped skill tree, revamped cyberware, revamped clothes, revamped cars, car combat, which some of the initial reviews are saying rivals GTA 5.
Sweet.
Right? There is just a buttload of they're just like, bleh, into Cyberpunk 2077 now. And then on top of that, we have the what is it, Phantom Liberty or
Phantom
something?
Liberty, yep.
Phantom Liberty update, which is 30 or 40 bucks, coming as well. First off, the free updates that they are doing, and this is not the first update that, like, major content ad that they've put into Cyberpunk.
True.
Right? And I think even without Phantom Liberty, the new district opens up with the free stuff. You just don't have access to the Phantom Liberty missions.
As far as I understood, yeah, you can play brand new title. If you don't have the Phantom Liberty stuff, you don't have to worry about it because those missions are kind of like seeded throughout the game.
Right, but you can still go into the new district and do stuff. So obviously CD Projekt Red has put a ton of money and work into Cyberpunk 2077 since what can at best be titled a bumpy launch. Do you think that these really start either bring in new players, people who were always like kind of iffy on Cyberpunk, and do you think that this sells a bunch of copies now where people are like, okay, now it's worth my $50 or probably 30 on Steam to come in now with all these major updates coming in, and obviously most of the bugs are now basically cleaned up. Mm-hmm. Do you think this brings people in, and do you think this brings players back into the game?
So I think we will see a bunch of players coming back. Everybody that I know that even finished it, because I didn't get a chance to finish it, but I played most of the way through it. There was just a lot of things about the systems, and like I was having some issues on my computer where it was like, yeah, I was playing on a 2080, but I was still getting some weird shit happening here and there. I think it's like, for me, it's going to get me to come back. I'll shell out the money. I'll also, the system overhaul is probably the biggest thing that I think players are just going to be like, yo, a lot of things that didn't matter now. Mm-hmm. There is more depth to these systems on top of the extra content that has been added over the last year or more. I think it will get a lot of people to come back. Now, will copies of Cyberpunk go flying off the shelf specifically for this? That's tough to say, because I think anybody that has it is going to jump back in. Anybody that is coming in just for Phantom Liberty, or at that point, they're going to be looking at a much higher price tag. They're going to be looking at $100 to jump into Cyberpunk. So I don't know if copies are necessarily going to fly off the shelf, but I think it is going to get a lot of positive sentiment, which could then lead to sales. Because that was the biggest hurdle that they could not get over at the beginning of Cyberpunk's launch, is that they shot themselves in the foot with the last-gen console release, and getting your game pulled off of the PlayStation Store basically tells everybody, avoid it. Mm-hmm. And anybody that bought it, played through it, had a fine time. But I don't know. That's really tough to say. Is Idris Elba and a brand new bunch of content really going to make the old Cyberpunk sell? Or is it just going to be people coming back for this DLC? And I think it's going to be a lot of people coming back for the DLC that are then going to need to sell people on the idea of getting into Cyberpunk.
See, now I'm kind of curious if there is like a bundle. So I'm going to check really quick. Okay, here you go. Because you were talking about the price point, right?
Yeah.
So on the PlayStation PlayStation Store, so for PS5 obviously, you can get all Cyberpunk 2077 and the Phantom Liberty expansion for $71.
Yeah, okay, so that's price of a normal game right now. Absolutely, I think that'll sell fine.
Xbox Store has got it at $80. Hang on. And then, so it's $79.99 on Xbox, $82.78 on Steam.
How much is the expansion solo?
Phantom Liberty expansion. Let's take a look. I think it's 40. 30.
30? That's not bad. So yeah, $100 if you had to buy them separately.
But I mean, $70. I mean, $70 on the PlayStation Store, $79 on Xbox. I think that's a pretty reasonable price for both. If you've never had Cyberpunk 2077,
yeah,
for both the full game and the expansion,
yeah,
that's not terrible.
I think that's pretty good. Good question in the chat. Are you going to pick this up over a game like Starfield? I would honestly say no, but I think they're going to service. I think they're going to service different people in a big enough way that I don't think. Well, I mean, Cyberpunk's we got a little while still, but I think people that are into these games will be fine with both. at the end of the day. Like Cyberpunk is a very different experience from Starfield. Starfield is like a forever game, like a Skyrim, right? You're gonna play it, you're probably gonna beat it, but you're always gonna come back to it forever and ever, mod it, play it, try it in different things, do different factions, blah 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 blah. Whereas Cyberpunk is very much like clean and linear. There's a handful of paths, but like if you're playing it, you're really there for that Cyberpunk fantasy. You're really trying to strap in for that. And Starfield feels like a more I guess the term that I would want to use here is more of a grounded sci-fi experience.
Yeah.
Where Cyberpunk is more of a high sci-fi experience.
Phantom Liberty comes out on September 26th. So they're giving, like we talked about earlier in the show, they're giving it some room.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go, Starfield comes out September 1st. You've got 25 days between the two launches.
Hi-fi, yes.
And I do think there are some people who will play both. They will buy Starfield on September 1st, preload it, play it for 3 or 4 weeks, probably get most of the way through the game, take a break, run over, beat Phantom Liberty, and like you said, come back to Starfield.
That's going to be my spouse. Basically, I can already tell, they played Cyberpunk 4 times already. They're going to be jumping back in for Phantom Liberty. They're super hyped. And they are also a Bethesda nerd, so they're going to be jumping into Starfield day one. So you basically described exactly at least one person that I know in what they're going to do.
I mean, truthfully, it's probably me as much as I can with what time I've got. Is I will probably. I mean, I'm planning on preloading Starfield next week. So that I can play it next weekend, and then I will wait till Cyberpunk, Phantom Liberty comes out.
Absolutely.
Again, I was a big fan of Cyberpunk 2077. I thought it was really, really good. There was definitely areas where they missed. It's not immune from critique.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. These updates look good. I just like to see them continuing to support the game. Right. Even given the bumpy launch, they could have abandoned it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the big project that they did abandon, which makes me sad, is there was supposed to be a Cyberpunk role-playing, multiplayer role-playing kind of all
MMO
GTA.
style.
Yeah. Which I get it. That's a big feat. Probably the thing that you want to cut if it was kind of on the slate, kind of not. But that would have sold me so much. I'm going to play Phantom Liberty. Mm-hmm. But if you want to talk about if you want to build the hype again for Cyberpunk, just being here's a multiplayer Cyberpunk. That would have got me to drop pretty much everything else, and I would have been super invested.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
At this point, I'll find time for it, though.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to. So, September 26th, we're going to get stuff, and they said they're putting out a lot of updates. So, let us know what you think. I'm genuinely very curious whether this really brings back Cyberpunk. Okay. Chat, come on, hit us with some topics. I know some of you are in there. We love you. So if you've got anything you want us to talk about, go ahead and throw it into the chat right now. Because we got about 15, 20 minutes left in the show. I'm going to go grab a couple of other things. Again, I didn't get a chance to watch Ahsoka yet. So I'm still out on that one.
No spoilers.
God, I got to get in and play Final Fantasy 16. I haven't had any time to play stuff.
I mean, you watched Game of Thrones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. You're good.
All right, played Final Fantasy 16. It's over. Armored Core 6 got a new review. Lara Croft's coming to Call of Duty. Okay, that frightens me.
So I don't know how much COD talk we do on here. I don't know if that's a big thing, but
I know we got a lot of COD.
Hearing that the new COD zombies, they're bringing it over to Modern Warfare. So that's going to be and all the devs that are working on it are working on it. So you got Treyarch, you got I'm forgetting all the other names right now. Of course, it's Sledgehammer Games or something like that. The big thing is two things: the open missions that you can do however you want, that are non-linear missions. You can do them stealth, you can do them action. I think that's really cool. But the big thing I think for a lot of nerds that kind of like the game, zombies is going open world.
What?
Full open world zombies.
Okay, that's interesting. Somebody in the YouTube chat saying, I bought Sucker Punch 2077 for the Xbox. Haven't opened it. Should I give it a chance? Yeah. I would say now, here's the go in there, get all the patches and the updates.
Yep.
And yeah, I definitely think that if you've never played Cyberpunk 2077, but you have it, it's definitely worth throwing it in the Xbox and playing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a solid game.
Definitely. So
It's a good game.
I would say for me on that side, I would kind of say yes. But if you want what sounds like is going to be the optimal experience for when you play it, wait for the big patch, the quality of life changes that come with Phantom Liberty. Or if you are interested in knowing the difference, play it now before those quality of life things come out in the patch for Phantom Liberty, and then you'll be able to see the difference when they do things like add the armor, add the car combat, all that other stuff into the game if you are interested in seeing the different systems. But if I were to reinstall it or install it for the first time, since it is so close, I would definitely pop it in and get that update and try all the new stuff. Because it's not going to change the base game except for the better, from what we have heard.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier in the show, so I'm gonna take this chat topic and I'm gonna spin it a little bit. You mentioned you used to do like watch parties for Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch House of the Dragon?
No.
Okay.
No interest.
What kept you away from House of the Dragon? I'm kind of curious now.
My group was gone at that point. My friend had gone down to Hollywood. He was acting and like all this, like I was doing other stuff. And like at that point, the group of people that we had watched it with, especially the guy that went and did his acting stuff, he was the book reader. So like we would all discuss like what was the differences, blah, 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 yada, yada. And so like we just lost our core group and any real like drive to watch it. Yeah, when it came out. I've heard it was one of the more decent Max shows that came out in the last couple of years.
I enjoyed it.
But like, not that I didn't want to. Kind of like with the supplemental Witcher stuff, where it was just kind of like, it's there. I might get to it.
Yeah. Okay. If you had to pick a game genre to play for the rest of your life and nothing ever, like we're eliminating it from existence, which one would you choose? This is a good get to know John thing.
Not even a hard question for me. Metroidvania, and you could just give me Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and that's all I would need.
So all the Metroidvania style games? And
like as a matter of fact, Blasphemous 2 comes out next week, and that's probably what I'll be playing.
All right.
I know all the other big stuff comes out too, but I mean, Blasphemous is really good.
What was the last Metroid game?
We had Metroid. I get the name wrong with it. It was like the weird robots are like chasing you, and it was like Metroid. It was recent. It was like in the last like 6 to 8 months. We had a Metroid game. Prime. No, because Prime was the remaster. We got Metroid Dread. Was the other one. That one was really good. Really good reviews. Fantastic gameplay. Really fun to watch speedrun too.
I think it's going to be. I want to see what they do with a Metroid with the next Switch. Mm-hmm. This next Switch has really got me curious, or this next Nintendo console.
Yeah, because we know nothing about it.
We know it's coming.
Leaks. We don't even have like a patent on it, as far as I know. We just keep hearing like Nintendo. We got it from the earnings call or something.
Yeah, the investor call. They said next Q3 of 2024. That's it. We don't know what it's called. Hey, you know what would be fun, Nintendo? You could announce it at PAX. And they are doing that big Nintendo presentation at PAX.
So yeah,
that's the invite one.
And I got an invite, so I'll be able to tell you what happens there.
I think my wife did too.
I'll be going on Monday. But so from what I have seen, as far as those events go, they have done. It's either 2 or 3 in Japan, and it is a celebration of all things Nintendo. It's very well color coordinated, like, you know, green for this game, red for Mario, blah, blah, blah. And it's really well put together. I don't know that they have traditionally, like, talked about anything at those, though. They're really just a celebration of all things Nintendo. So I would be pleasantly surprised if they talked about their new console at all at PAX.
We know they're going to have a booth. And Nintendo's booths at PAX have traditionally been top-notch.
Yeah.
I have always loved their presentation, like the way that they set their stuff up.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have lots of hands-on stations for people to play and do stuff. Nice. And I've always loved their booths, and so I'm very happy to hear them again. The one that I again, just noticed, because I've been watching the thing, because this was how I was going to evaluate PAX this year, is who came back. because I consider this the first truly, and I was actually in my room last night, and I was like, did I go to PAX last year? I had a badge, and I think I went for like a day, and was just kind of like, and literally probably just washed it from my mind last year, because it just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, I had a 4-day last year. What was I doing?
I was talking at panels and doing events the whole time, so I don't even know what the show floor looked like.
I don't remember what oh no, I remember now. I was supposed to do a game design thingy.
Game design thingy?
Yeah.
Is it the build a game in an hour?
Yes.
Oh, my friend's on that panel. As a matter of fact, this year he's also on that panel again. He's the main host for that.
I was the first one to win that panel.
Oh yeah? So you would probably actually know my friend Viking Blonde, Will Overgaard.
Yeah.
Guy. Yep.
Yeah. No, I was the first year they did it back at PAX 18. What year was that? 18 or 19 was the first PAX they did the tabletop build a game in an hour. Yeah, I won it the first year. Surprisingly, I don't even know how that happened. So I'm really curious. But the one that I love, because I've also always loved their booths, was Ubisoft.
That's
Ubisoft's one of my favorite publishers. I
Yeah.
love their games. I really do. So the fact that they're coming now, that I see them on the list, I'm like, oh, okay, good.
So what are you as a Ubisoft fan? What are you looking forward to seeing there?
I want to play Assassin's Creed Mirage. I want to get hands-on with Mirage.
Do you want to? Would you want to play Jade?
I would too.
Just to see what it feels like on mobile.
Yep. If I could play Mirage and Jade, that would be, I'd be happy. In fact, I was just going to pull it. Because, again, there's a lot, like, stuff that I used to see at PAX all the time that I always enjoyed was Bethesda always did a really good job with their stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And again, I'm still kind of surprised that Microsoft's not going to be there.
I mean, so I'm... Man, with Starfield where it is, I'm almost not, because what do they need to go talk about, right? Like, what do they need to say except for go buy Starfield in a week, or whatever it is?
Not even a week.
Oh, yeah, no, it comes out on the 1st.
Please come buy Starfield today.
Just come buy Starfield. So, like, that's literally going to come out the day that PAX starts. I don't know why I had it as a week later. So, like, yeah, they really don't have anything to say except for Starfield's out. Buy our title, and that is all they're going to want to say.
I'm kind of curious what Sega's going to be doing there.
They have they just acquired Rovio, so the Angry Birds developer. So who knows? Maybe we'll see a Sonic mobile title where you fling Sonic at Robotnik or something. I am blanking there.
Pokemon's going to have a booth. Of course, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Some of these ones where I'm like, why are you here? Like AT&T. I don't know what AT&T is going to be doing at PAX. Selling phones, I suppose?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about Final Fantasy, like the mobile one, I think that's like Rebirth or something like that. I forget what the one's coming out. We've also got this Assassin's Creed. Maybe they're going to be showing Assassin's Creed Jade at the table on their phones.
So that's something I've always loved, because like when NVIDIA used to do their booths, that's what they would do. Is they would take a bunch of new stuff from the publishers.
It'd be on their like shields or whatever.
And all their stuff right there to show the quality of their graphics cards. So Microsoft's too busy with product drops. I mean, that could be it. Again, I think with the lineup they've got, you can go to the Cheez-It booth. There's going to be a Cheez-Its booth, so that'll be fun. Obviously, right after PAX, we'll have a big PAX review day where we talk about all the stuff that we're going to see there. I am not really working this year's PAX, so at least thus far, unless I get dragged into something last minute.
So you'll actually get to enjoy it.
I'm trying.
Are you on the? Do you just have like a standard badge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will let you know about the fancy stuff. So I have a media badge, so I'm going to see what kind of crap I can get into.
I've done a medium badge one year, and that was a fun year where like it was the year they released the BattleTech game released for PC.
Oh, sick.
Right, and so they were like, "Oh yeah, come in here and do," So I got to do all the fucking fun demos.
Oh
and
gosh,
shit.
something we didn't even talk about that should be a topic. Doesn't Fires of Rubicon hit in like 2 days? Like I am almost positive that Armored Core, the new Armored Core.
Oh yeah, no,
comes out.
there's a yes, it comes out in 2 days, and I actually just saw a review about it.
That's gonna be. I have heard good things so far. I have heard really good things about the gameplay. There's a 1v1 mode. There's a 3v3 mode, which is going to mean there's like actual multiplayer stuff. I'm very excited for the virtual on experience again. But yeah, Fires of Rubicon comes out 2 days, looking real good.
I mean, Armored Core's got a good history. IGN's got it rated at an 8.
That's not bad. That's
solid.
That's a solid. 8s are solid. I know everybody is going to be like, oh, it's a FromSoft game. It's got to be as good as the Souls games. No, it doesn't. It can be its own thing.
Every time I play a mecha game, it makes me sad that I'm never going to get Titanfall 3.
No, you got Apex though.
But
I don't want to talk about Apex though.
It's not the same. And don't get me wrong. I played Apex for a while, and Apex is fun. Okay, but did you play Titanfall 2?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That game was the single player mode on that game.
Oh, it was great.
Was
yeah,
phenomenal. By the
it's
end,
co-op, right? Yeah.
No, because you were BT.
Oh yeah, okay.
You and BT. So the first game was one where they did the online like multiplayer single player campaign.
That was that one.
And then the second one was when you get to play the actual. It had a very almost COD like you were talking about in the pre-show. 6 to 10 hours. Just get through. Do the stuff.
That's my chunk of game length that I
Yep.
enjoy.
So, but it was solid because it was a dedicated single player experience with new mechanics every level, and you had your little Titan partner BT, and by the end you're just like you and BT have become this like unit,
Yep.
and it was just really well done. And the fact that we are never probably going to get Titanfall 3, and again, I enjoyed Titanfall multiplayer because it was the fun of it was again getting that like getting your kills, doing your stuff, so your Titan would come. And that was when the fun really happened.
So the only thing about Titanfall 3 not releasing that I think is a good thing is this was actually not a pivot by the company. This was not like you have to go make Apex. They actually were testing Apex internally, and the devs were enjoying it so much and getting such positive feedback that they actually pivoted over to the project that they were enjoying more, and then ended up putting out Apex.
That's fair.
But I fully agree with you. I would love another Titanfall. Man, there was nothing like grappling a building or grappling your Titan or whatever, and just like the physics were so you could like flip around, slide in a window, jump out the other side.
When Titanfall 1 came out, it felt to me like the anti-COD, right? It was. It felt like they went into a room and they went, okay, what are all the problems with COD? Camping. All right, let's fix that.
Yep.
Right? It was like,
verticality was a big one.
Verticality. It looked like they really went in there and they were like, how can we make this? And that was what I loved about Titanfall was again, it had that freneticness to it.
Yep.
Right? Where you wanted to move around. You don't want to sit still. Right? And that was really the fun of it. So again, I'm sad we're never going to get it. All right, folks, that's what we're going to call the show today. Again, if you missed any segments of the show, go ahead and check those out on our YouTube channel later today. I'm going to be doing some lovely editing after we get done with the show today. We'll have the Lorcana review, the launch week review should be up later today, which we talked about yesterday. And as always, if you missed any of these shows, go ahead and check those out on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, subscribe and give us thumbs up and things like that. If you want to know what's going on at the store this week, go ahead and go to the website, games7pnw.com, or in your thing. To everybody on YouTube and Twitch, thank you all for watching. We love you, and we will be back tomorrow.
Yep.
Bye.
Bright and early.